Pretty thighs, shawty, she a dime. Demon girl, evil eyes, she be telling lies. Slim waist,
Speaking of ARPANET, we all know the internet is now used by virtually everyone in the world. Was the internet created for the general public, or was it created for another audience or purpose?
Well, the original work was built on top of ARPANET's pioneering work, and it was intended to be used for command and control for the U.S. Defense Department. But the implementers of that system were primarily university researchers scattered around the United States and later other parts of the world. So the engineers that were developing the internet were largely civilian sector people, and they were using it while they were building it. And so the civilian applications became very apparent, or at least their potential became very apparent to the people who were both building and using the internet. So even though I think it fulfilled its intent as an infrastructure to support the Defense Department's communication needs, it became a worldwide communication system. I wish I could say everyone in the world has access, but they don't. About, I would say, 3 billion people still to go, and about 4 billion are online. So lots of work to be done for the chief internet evangelist at Google.
All right, so let's say you have the ability to time travel back to 1973 when you were working on ARPANET with other scientists and researchers. So what changes would you have made in the internet architecture if you're seeing the internet right now?
A lot of people ask that question, and I am pretty sure that if I had tried to tell my younger self what was going to happen, I probably would not have believed it, first of all. And second, I'm not sure that I could take advantage of the advice. So I'll give you an example. You might know, of course, that the original internet design allowed for a 32-bit address space, which is for 4.3 billion addresses. We called that Internet Protocol version 4. And that lasted until about 2011. We're still using IP version 4, but we're running out of the address space. We knew that that was going to happen by the early 1990s, and we could see the beginnings of the rapid growth of the network. And so in 1992, the Internet Engineering Task Force began work on IP version 6, which has ultimately ended up with a 128-bit address space. So I suppose I could whisper in the ear of my younger self and say, choose 128 bits of address space, but when you do the math, that's 3.4 times 10 to the 38th addresses. And it would be very hard to believe in 1973 that you needed 340 trillion addresses to build a network that you aren't even sure yet is going to work. So I'm not sure that I could have persuaded my younger self to do that. The second observation is, of course, that we all see the need for increased security in the network. And that means the introduction of cryptographic methods for confidentiality or for strong authentication, or for validation of integrity of content. However, it takes certain kinds of cryptographic methods in order to make it easy, public key crypto specifically. And I have to tell you that the first glimpse of public key crypto is 1976. And this was a paper by Whit Diffie and Marty Hellman, my colleagues at Stanford. And they didn't offer an implementation. They simply described what the functionality would be if you could find mathematical functions that met their criteria. So there really weren't any available public key cryptographic methods available until 1978 or 79. And by that time, I was trying to get the internet essentially frozen so we could, the protocols frozen, so we could then build it and try it out. So I didn't want to be diverted away from that effort to demonstrate that the TCP/IP protocol suite works. So I don't think I could be persuaded to introduce the public key crypto before we released the rest of the net in 1983. And I would think I would be justified in that because we have been able to retrofit a lot of the cryptographic methods at various layers in the internet architecture in order to improve security. So I don't think I would have succeeded in forcing it to happen earlier than it has.